Hello, it's Nikki. Today I want to talk about my strategy sessions and why I structure them in the way that I do. Now, I'm not going to share any you've got to do this or this is why I do X, Y, and Z. You know your business and you know what works best for your clients and you know what works best for you. I think that's a really key point as well, that sometimes people will put together packages, and this happens a lot in these strategy sessions where I might say to a client after they've kind of said, I want to do this, this, and this. I will ask them, how does that feel? And sometimes they're like, it feels all right. I don't know, but I'm not sure if I want to do it. So that's your first clue. It has to feel good. If it feels good, you're going to talk about it. You're going to want to sell it and it's going to be great. So do that first. Check in with your body. Check in with any resistance or any emotions that come up, and then look at them and deal with them and make adjustments and tweaks. I know everybody out there will tell you these are the things that you need to think about, but if they don't work for you and they don't resonate with you, don't do them. It can be the greatest trend in the world, but if it doesn't feel nice to you, then don't do it. Okay, so what has happened in my business in terms of these strategy calls is that I have realized that everybody needs much more than the time that we have together. And I also know that I can work better and support more and be more helpful if I work in this way. So, for example, if I met somebody for an hour strategy session, I had no idea about their business or what they wanted to do, I am sure that the first half hour or the first half of that strategy session would all be about them telling me what they want, what's gone wrong, what hasn't happened, the story, giving me the nuts and bolts of the current situation. And this used to happen a lot because we would literally have that time together. And I always came away from those first sessions asking myself, am I being the most useful here? Is this person taking away all of the things that they need to take away? And what I came to the conclusion is that half of it was just storytelling. And then the second half was about action. And so I looked at ways that I could shift those percentages, because what I wanted it to be more like is 10%, 20%, what's the situation? What are your thoughts, feelings, that sort of stuff. And then 80% or even 90% was about the action. So what do we do? How do we move forward? What is that all about? And so when I asked myself those questions of how can I support my client in that moment, that's when the pre-work part really came into play. And over the years, even that has developed as well. So as part of this package, everybody gets some pre-work where they can fill in some questionnaires, they can send me links, they can send me visuals. There's a whole opportunity for somebody taking all of the information out of their head and going, there you go, Nikki. And sometimes it comes with an email of I'm not really sure what this is. These are just a few ideas. This is not fully formed, etc. No worries. I can look at it. I can then sort through it. That's the first bit of the prep. The second bit is me doing my prep as well. So for me, it's always really important that I am prepared, that I know what I'm bringing to the table, that I'm coming with my ideas, my thoughts, my feelings, and that I really know what I'm talking about. I think it's that moment, if you offer something bespoke, you can't just kind of fall on your laurels, or you can't just go, yeah, they're a psychologist. I've worked with loads of psychologists before. I'll just do the same thing. In fact, it's the opposite. It's really about working with that person and what that's all about. So those two parts of their prep and my prep have been really golden in terms of shifting that percentage of when we get together, whether that's in person in London or if that's internationally on Zoom. That has been really key for me. The final part has been that week of email support. And not everybody is necessarily expecting what that takes in order to get the results. And just to go back on the process, I used to offer that as a sort of Brucey bonus. You've got this email support if you want or if you need it. And actually, knowing after I've worked with over 1,000 clients, most people will convince themselves they don't want it and they don't need it. And it's all right, thanks. Like, I'm good now. But if you take it and you run with it and you do the work, that's when you're going to really get some game-changing things. Because this is what happens with change. We have to support it every step of the way. It's almost like being consistent with discipline with a child. If like one day you're like, hi, yeah, we're going to do this, this, and this, we're going to make these changes. And then the next day you're like, oh, you know those changes we talked about yesterday? I'm a bit tired today. We're not going to do them. The child's like, what are we doing? Are we doing this? And the child's brain is like, I don't know. Let's just go back to what we were doing before. And so this opportunity of an email support is so, so key, because every part of self-development I have ever done, this happens every time because I've clocked it. I will go to the workshop, the seminar, the event, my own coaching session, a course, whatever it might be. And immediately after, I will have had that dopamine hit of like, yes, let's do this. I'm unstoppable. I can do all of the things. Off we go. And then the self-development hangover kicks in. And sometimes that's only like 10 minutes later. Sometimes it's the next morning, or sometimes it's the next time that I sit down to do that work. And that's when I feel that conflict. That change is like, yeah, I want to do the things, and I've got the notes, and I've got the tools, and I've got the strategy. And then that hangover of like, but can you really do it? That's when Shit FM like comes into play of, can you do that? Really? You want to make those changes today? Oh, I don't know. Oh, I'm not sure. It might be too much. That's when all those voices come into play. And because I know that for myself, and that I choose things often that have additional support with them, or check-in or accountability, that's why I know that it works. Because doing the exercise, creating the plan is just not enough. We need that support going forward of like, okay, all right, so here we go. Let's do it. Can you hold my hand? Because I'm a bit scared. All of that stuff. That's when you build those really solid foundations, by actually taking the steps forward. So I hope that's been useful. I would love to know what you take away from this and how you're going to apply some of these principles, or really actually take some time to think about what your client and your customer needs. Where do they need support in order to get the results that they want? So my client or my customer, if they filled in a form, they might say, oh, I don't need that week of support afterwards. But me as the practitioner or the expert, or however you like to refer to yourselves, knows how valuable things can be. It's that moment that when you don't want to do the thing and you actually do it, that's when you get the results. So I hope this has been useful for you. Let me know if it has. Let me know what you've gained, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.